Maybe that's the trick.
Doing it live
The trick of the yeah, doing it live, yo. The trick of the trade.
is the boy right there.
Yeah, Chris,
You know, you got the
we're
purple patch.
we're live. Before we
Oh, we're
start,
live.
yeah. Welcome back to Let's Talk Lore. But Chris, before we start, let's see the new tat.
Oh, roll high and subscribe first,
Roll.
right?
Yeah, of course, always.
What? What that thing?
Yeah.
Can't really see that. Well,
Oh, you can see it. I'm gonna go ahead and click the random tangent because I feel like I need to know what the detail is. Eh, random tangent.
what what the details of
Yeah. What is that?
that?
That's so.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
that's that's my wife, and my son, the moon.
That's hilarious. I need to get. I told you I'm gonna get a skull on my head. Just I don't know how the
No,
business meetings are gonna go,
just
but
like behind the ear.
okay. Well, so let's talk lore. First topic. I chose one, and I wanted to go into. Well, I didn't actually choose it. We got a comment in our feed, and as I've always said, uh, whenever anyone comments, we'll be sure to talk about whatever it is that they wanted to talk about. And we had a request to have a Let's Talk Lore session about character building,
Okay.
not just NPCs or PCs, but just general character building.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to get into like the how to do it because everyone has their own ways. Like you and I, what do we do usually?
We uh we figure out an idea of what the character is going to be, then we roll stats and realize how that idea is going to change based on these horrible stats that we rolled for this person. I feel really bad for them. And then we figure out how to make it work.
But it's always funny. So like
Yeah.
it's so the one thing with and everyone has their own way, but one thing with tables is that it's random. So connecting those things is
Yeah.
hilarious. Like you have this idea of this person, like Booterbot's maker, the person who made Booterbot, the Warforged. Like she was his maker, the only thing that he cared about. And then it was funny. Her like the two rolls of the dice. She was like well put together person, but the roll of the dice, it was like she has no ligaments or like she's missing like her legs and arms, and
Yeah.
then you have to fill in that backstory, like how did that happen, and then
Hmm.
she lived and then she liked a certain flower or whatever it was. That's so funny. So like when you have a random table, building that into your backstory. Don't go with the backstory first. So
Yeah.
that's um, one piece of advice. You can do your backstory first. It's that you can do whatever you want, but sometimes letting the tables build your backstory, I guess.
I love to, well, in life, in human life, not fantasy D&D game life. I always feel like like today we are a sum of all the experiences and all the other things that we happened to us before. So your character that you're building, we're rolling on this table and we're finding out who this person is now. So now
Right.
we got to take all those weird quirks and uniqueness is that are this rolled character and try and make a backstory of like why would this character have all these unique things happening to them. Sort of put these puzzle pieces together, finding out who
Oh
this
yeah,
person
for
is now.
sure. And it's like it's really like I don't know. I think that sometimes it's overwhelming. I always say words like overwhelming, especially when we talk
Right.
D&D creation and world building. But one of the things that we also focus on at Let's Talk Lore is immersion. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about four particular things, and you can help me fill in
Hmm.
um, and give you your suggestions
Yeah.
as well. But one of the
Absolutely.
things that that I find and that I'm going to start using more is to focus on one small detail first and then have that sort of tell help you tell the story. So it's sort of like
Yeah.
the random roll where you get a random thing. She has no like her robot arms. Like where did that come
Right.
from? But it's like even more so maybe, and humorous is also hilarious. Um, maybe he's an accidental adventurer. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the guy is so maybe it's sort of like, who is it, Bilbo Baggins, you know maybe he wasn't necessarily an accident, but like he just sort of,
It adventure fell upon him.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
one of the examples I read was like, uh was a janitor in a wizard's tower that, like, he he's mopping up one day and like, now I'm just going random. This is my favorite part of
This is your
character.
tangent
Yeah,
alert.
the tangent, random random tangent alert. Um, I think that, like, the wizard, he's busy doing his thing. Maybe he's a crazy dark wizard or whatever, and the janitor comes in and cleans something and actually stumbles upon an artifact that gives him, maybe he becomes a barbarian. Maybe he, or maybe he has, all of a sudden he starts getting these magical powers or whatever. And so, like, that's
Mhm.
his backstory, or anything sort of.
I think that's something that I've been doing when I create characters without knowing it. Because I always try and find like what's their quirk, what's their like weird thing that I'm gonna pull out and role play that's gonna make them memorable or unique. And that's like their one thing that I start with. For like the a character that I just made, I was wanting a an old grandma who was happy and peaceful in her life. So that's the one thing. It's just like happy grandma is my one thing. And then creating the family and all the other background that created this happy grandma.
Oh yeah, I think, and then, and one of the, so moving forward, I feel like, if you, when you're character building, it's so easy to be like, okay, like when I did the main villain Doomhand, um, I sort of knew his story, and I sort of built it, but I never talked about his, like, character. Like, there's
Like,
a difference between building a stat page and a character page,
right.
and a backstory, but also the character. So, you know, what are his obsessions? Like,
Yeah.
what are his goals? Are they funny? Does he have quirks? Maybe the guy, like, maybe you have a guy that, like, can turn into whatever, and you can recognize him because he's always twisting his mustache,
Yeah.
or he shakes, or you know um but it could be like his obsession with skulls, you know obviously that's gonna,
Hmm.
and revenge and stuff like that, which is.
Well, it's fleshing out the the part of the character beyond just what you fight in battle, beyond what you have just in those short conversations during the game. It's all the other lore, the like what makes them human or dwarf or elf or whatever creature they are, like that essence of them, like that other stuff.
Yeah, I feel like with character building, um to make it immersive, what would you think? I mean, like, yes, you want to build it into the story,
Right.
but that's not it. I think the immersion comes from, like, being forced to sort of respond and role play your character from the quirks that he has. So it's like, if this guy is afraid of grass, or it's something ridiculous,
Right.
walking through a field is going to be very funny, and
Yeah.
the way that
Well,
that description, or like, there's a grass monster, or like, whatever.
or
It's,
you don't like caves and but that little quirks and uniquenesses like that are opportunities to grow or to connect with other players through role play of like bringing out these little elements to engage with the other members of your party of like, hey, I can't go on that grass because of reasons. Like,
Yeah.
oh, why? Because I think it's gonna cut my feet up. Like, you could make up
Yeah.
random reasons of who knows what, but it gives those icebreakers of engagement with
Yeah.
other players, with the story of like you have something that changes the way a normal person would be moving through the world. And that makes it unique to you, so you could express that uniqueness in your party and your gameplay.
I read I read something, and it could be like just the actions that they take. So like
Hmm.
a barbarian who rages, and whenever he rages, he thinks he turns into like a werewolf. Or so like when he's fighting, he's like making growls and stuff like that while he does it. Like that's hilarious and immersive. Or it doesn't always have to be like good and bad. And these are people that,
Well,
they have their quirks, and
yeah. Well, and every creature, every character is gonna like in their life, they're gonna have things that are good about them, things that are bad about them. And I think a lot of the characters that it's just that balance of which side they lean more towards is how they're projected in the story. Like you could have like that um, guard at the prison camp who's like enslaving the world, and then he goes home to his family and like plays ball with his little kids.
right.
Like there is good sides to. I like to hope. I believe that there are good sides to all these different people, these creatures, characters that we meet. And that was really turned pushed onto me from my wife playing her playing um when she's like, I want to talk to the Kraken and become friends with it. I'm like,
That's funny.
I was not planning that, but like why can't the Kraken be like a friendly, loving person and be like,
How about
hey, I just wanted to play and I thought you guys were wanted to splash a little bit.
how about your
Why not?
I know that like you created uh damn it, I'm gonna do another tangent alert, aren't I? Yeah, so tangent alert coming up here. You created a character, Wilbur. He didn't last too long, but uh he was so funny. So like we were in the Underdark in the Mushroom Forest, and like people were almost dead, and we had just lost someone. And oh no,
Those
it was
Lone Star
slightly,
just
yeah,
died.
Lone Star just died. And
Yeah.
he comes out of nowhere, and it was so funny because he was barbarian, but he was so nice. He was such a
Well,
nice dude. And it was such like a juxtaposition between the character that you were just playing, who's sort of evil, dark, chaotic, and and then all of a sudden Wilbur, who's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And everyone was like, "I hate this guy. Like we need
we
to
want our
mourn.
friend
We
back.
need to mourn." So let's just
Well,
let's throw that out there. What about with character building? What about what you did? Sort of.
so Wilbur, that like 100% the first topic you were talking about, one idea. I just came from playing. It was really hard to play Lone Star. He was my artificer, armorer, Owlin. He in the game he was a uh, an avatar of Talos before Talos, all of his followers were wiped out. So he lost all of his godly powers and was just a creature that was born on the in the realm. And he was like the most chaotic, evil, ridiculous character I played. And my idea was like, he Lone Star corrupted the entire party in the most horrible
It
possible
was
way.
awesome. It was awesome.
And it's like the other characters, they were like nice, loving people until Lone Star, and he just like off the deep end. And so I wanted to like mess with everyone else. So I want to be the most happy-go-lucky character I could possibly imagine being. That was my one idea. Just like be super loving, happy, open, honest, like that. that person no one trusts,
I don't
but is never lies to you.
I don't know if this if like if you were in battle uh, and you were the dark guy, Lone Star, everyone would have come to bat for you and just sacrificed them. But
Yep.
then Wilbur just they all let him die. It was pretty funny.
They
Um,
helped him die.
but
Yeah.
what about your character's neutrality, good or bad?
I
Maybe those are there for that very thing. So it's like it helps you role play when your alignment is
yeah.
a specific way. And if you stick to the alignment, it's funny because there are moments where you sort of have to break
Well,
and do
I
the
think
bad thing as a paladin or a cleric or whatever.
there's this is one thing I don't really love about this, the general idea of the alignment, good, evil, chaotic, lawful. I love using that to get the starting point because everyone is can be chaotic. Everyone can be follow the rules. Everyone can do horrible things to for being self-centered and like focusing on them. And everyone has moments when they're very caring and thinking about everyone else. So like starting about like, all right, my character was in this horrible place, but he was trying to be better for it. He didn't see all the negative sides of his situation. Wilbur, he was in a cult, basically a death cult. Is what it turned out to be. But he was happy and he was like the one of the people who drank the Kool-Aid and fully believed in it. Um, and like that's not necessarily good or chaotic or lawful. I think that's just like a personality that you created, and the good evil is a way to help figure out where you want to go with that personality.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so like I just feel like when it comes to that type of character building, and
There we go.
it's you don't have to have everything filled out. It could just be one little small thing that builds, and
Yeah,
the immersive quality is how you deal with that in the role play. Um, and that's sort of what I had. I feel like immersion, if you build your character to be immersive and you
well,
don't know what that means, I feel like
the 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 tip that I always like make sure to give is always all these quirks, all these other unique little whatever they are, always only put that into your character if you feel comfortable role playing it.
yes,
If like for as a DM, don't put some weird, unique quirk about this character if you're not gonna want to do it.
right.
Don't try
Or
and add all this stuff to your character if you're gonna just like leave it there and not bring it into it.
easily forgettable too.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the idea of one
Hmm.
thing, and
Yeah.
like so
And even
the
if that you have that word somewhere in your character sheet or somewhere that you can look at before each game, being like, okay, that's something to come back to, like the
yeah,
mission, like a mission statement.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
druid who was who who tells people that he was raised in the forest, but he was really
Mhm.
raised in a civil
Yeah.
town. For whatever reason, he wants to appear more rugged than he is, but every single time that he tells his backstory, like it's a different story. And so like
Yeah.
you're waiting for the DM to have an opportunity for you to engage and be like, well, I'm from
Right.
the forest. Where are you from? Well, I was raised by a hawk. And then like, several sessions later, you're on a boat with a pirate and he happens to say, where are you guys from? And you're like, well, I lived in a cave with, that,
Yeah.
and see if other people pick up. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
that's something else I love to do is drop hints to my fellow players. If I'm playing, drop like random backstory hints to see who is actually listening
Oh
to
yeah,
that stuff.
I
Oh,
try.
eh,
Sometimes, it's really funny. Random tangent. The you'll because you're DMing now and it's in my world sort of.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it is your universe. You can do whatever you want. Um, it's funny you drop hints at the backstory and it's completely. But you know what? I'm so immersed in my why my dice are not
Well,
rolling well.
you're
Uh,
in college. You're in college. You're in like only
yeah,
thinking about her and what she knows, not the DM mind of I have all of this rest of the world to think about.
that's true. It's true. Well, I hope that those suggestions, I think there were about three or four in there,
Hmm.
and I'll highlight them in the chapters. I hope that that sort of helps, sort of not dumb it down, um,
But
but like
simplify
simplify.
the starting
Yes,
process.
you're such a good. This is why we're good here. I say dumb it down. You say the actual what I actually mean. It's perfect.
Well, and if there are any other suggestions that you guys might want to have, let us know in the comments. And roll high and subscribe.
Yeah, roll high and subscribe. All right. Yeah, that was pretty good. Shameless plug. Where's your shirt now? Let's do it. Let's
This,
do it.
this, the
Yeah,
barbarian. It's time to
worms
rage.
worms trove. We got these. They sent us some
This,
items. Yeah, these shirts are dope. And we'll
they
do.
sent me these dice. These dice, I didn't have my local game this week because family were in town. So
Yeah.
I've been waiting to use
Oh
these
my God, those are
dice.
so cool.
Like they're hollow, the metal hollow, they have skulls on them and like rib cage bones. It's like you can't,
Yeah,
it won't focus enough to get in there. Oh, there it is. Look at that.
that is so cool. Mine's sort of like a solid blue. It's got some flowers on it. Metal has some weight to it.
It's solid. Those look solid.
Definitely going to be uh, tagging them in whatever role it is. I hope it's high. But
Oh,
they have
and
good.
and
They have good. They
and
have good stuff.
these jangle.
Yeah, they have all types of attire. They have all types of D and
Yep.
D
Oh, the
products and
mug.
accessories. The mug was awesome. Another
Hmm.
shirt I was thinking about. Um, and if you purchase on them, you can get a discount. And because we are an affiliate of them now, any money that we make is going to be donated to the charity to teach kids
Yep.
how to do what, Chris?
Play D&D.
Play D&D. So once we get enough money, but right
Yep.
now the only cash we have coming in is from this purchase of this shirt. But hey, it starts small,
Start
right?
somewhere. Start
Yeah.
1 penny. Starts the ball rolling.
Worms Tavern, thank you very much,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
their uh, their link will be in the comments.
Yeah.
Um, Another topic.
Another topic.
Yeah, right. I mean, are
Hmm.
you are you before we get into it? Are you as you say? Are you
As I said
ready?
one time.
Yeah, which I'll roast you forever. But are you ready? Have you planned Dungeons and Dragons session on Monday night? Have you done any?
I so the nice thing about the next session or two is it's like the culmination of this whole arc. So it's like I prepped all of this months ago, and it just you're in the point where you guys can finally like get the information. I can finally tell you everything because you're in the spot to know it. So I have as much planned as information needs to be known, but I have no clue what you guys are doing. So I can't plan your chaos.
Of course, I'm
That's
excited because had originally signed up for a vampire, and all we've done is fight werewolves. Which is listen, I'll take it. I'll take it.
hey,
But that was
well,
sick. That was sick. You had her walk away, and as she left, she walked up the wall and out. And you're like, "That's where we're gonna end tonight." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, that was that was really cool. That was really really cool.
well, I was trying that whole lead up to it, like the end of the fight, and like a lot of my prep for that was like trying to think of those two characters and how they're going to be, like why they would be there and how they would interact. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great and it's going to be hilarious. And I'm wondering if anyone is going to pick up on these clues, and no one was.
Yeah, the
Until I'm like,
garlic,
screw it. She's walking up the wall.
the
She's not going the
garlic.
other way.
Yeah, that was so funny. The garlic and the mirrors that no one cared
Mhm.
about. But yeah, all right, let's go, Chris.
You ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
welcome back. Let's talk lore.
Roll high and
Roll
subscribe.
high and subscribe always. Topic tonight, Chris, your choice.
Is challenging your players in combat.
Very
So
cool idea.
there's something that I've, as a DM, it's always frustrating when you're like, all right, I have this really cool combat idea plan, this all these different homebrew monsters and all this stuff, and then you're like, all right, no one here has an AC under 23. Uh, I didn't really look at this as closely as I thought I would. I can only hit them 10% of the time. This is gonna be miserable. They're just gonna wipe the floor. Or yeah, any other like crazy, unique specialty things for characters of like, oh, I'm a raging barbarian. I have 4,000 hit points. It and at that point, a lot of combats just feel like rolling
It's
dice
slow.
back and forth, and it's a slog.
Yeah,
So
I will say, and I guess I'm just going to jump into one
yeah,
example.
go for it.
And I'm going to use this from what you did last Monday at I Got Doomhanded and the Skulls of Power, our shameless plug for Monday night. Um, you set up a sort of environmental aspect to the battle, and whenever the werewolf went into the moonlight, he got massive and stronger. Now, I don't know what happened on his character sheet. All I
Mhm.
knew was that you had him actually walk through it, and it's subtle the way you just did it. It was really cool. You had him walk through the moonlight, and he got huge. And then when he got into the shadows, you said when he comes to you in the shadows, he sort of shrinks down. You all notice it. Um, that was really cool. And then he started like going toe to toe with the barbarian in the moonlight, and it was crazy. And like, so the question was, do I attack him or do I figure out how to get rid of the moonlight? Then we can attack.
Mhm.
That adds another element to it. It's more of like a strategy, tactical
Yep.
attack instead of just rolling. Okay, my paladin is just all he does is hit and
Right.
smite. As cool as that is,
Hmm.
doing it 3 times in a row, you know,
Right.
unless you know how, unless you're like acting in the role play and stuff like that,
Right.
um,
It can get
adding
kind
that
of
add,
repetitive.
adding that environmental thing was really cool. I have to applaud you for that. Bravo,
Thank
bravo
you.
DM,
Oh,
bravo DM.
and that's one thing that I always try to bring into those big fights. It's the idea of the fight. It's not just like this boss is sitting, waiting in the room, waiting for some random schmo to come in and kick at their butt, or waiting for just people to walk in after one after the other and just kill them as they come in. Like they're in the middle of doing something and you're trying to stop them, or you're trying to save someone. There has to be some um, engagement of some like something else going on besides just two groups of evil people see each other and
Yeah,
like, oh, kill on sight.
yeah. I mean, I so let's do four ways to make combat.
I love
Um,
hostages or
yes.
civilians, like creatures that are just creatures on the board, not necessarily people, creatures on the board that can easily go down or be taken,
Oh yeah,
or
hordes
that need
like
to be
not
like
hordes, but
taken from one area to another. Like
yes.
giving, yes, that sort of like civilian save the civilian.
So when I did so like an objective, a goal. So
Hmm.
the first one we had was um um what was it, Chris? It was the adding. Well, so let's just get to your goal in the battle. So it's like having another objective besides knocking the guy out. You're gonna knock
Right.
the guy out, but
Right.
there's like a it's almost like a side quest. So like in
Right.
the forest when I had that, you guys come across a battle between the
Right.
centaur
Hmm.
and the owl bear, and you see that the centaurs through their words or actions um, are trying to get the egg, and the owl bear through her actions, not necessarily words unless you were a druid,
Right.
is trying to protect the egg. Now you guys have a sort of subtle goal. Now I didn't mean to do that. You guys just focused on the egg the way I set it
Right.
up, but maybe you set it up like that where you get a reward of
But
some kind with the egg or whatever.
that was one of the ways I love to change up combat as well. Not just having you walk up on one other creature, you walk up on two other people doing something else completely different.
Yeah, I
Like
like.
the one combat I'm like I loved because this is what really gave me the idea. The party was walking and I had some giants who were hunting wolves who were hunting the party. So it's like there's this other thing going on while and the party was just there happening. That happened to be there and get caught in the middle of it while this old big fight between wolves and giants were raging through the mountains and they just rocks were getting thrown everywhere and it was this big chaos monster and it was challenging and you get to see who they side with. Well, how do they try and resolve? Do they try and stop it? Do they try and kill everyone? You give opportunities.
Yeah, like a moral dilemma type of
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, you have the environmental,
Well,
you have your
it,
moral dilemma.
so if you wanted to be just like we're gonna go kill this guy, I always love to throw a puzzle aspect into it, like the Moonlight. Like throw something that changes during the fight that they have the players have to like go through a couple rounds before they fully understand what's happening. Of like, oh,
The puzzle battle.
this creature has like a troll or some other creatures like a general D&D enemy of they regenerate if they don't take fire or radiant, I believe. And the first time you face that and you do a whole lot of damage to this troll, and then it comes to their turn and they heal up, and you're like, oh shoot, how are we gonna stop them from healing?
Yeah,
And it becomes a puzzle. It's not just about killing them. It's
yeah.
about like how do we stop this?
So like the way I did, you guys were exiting the Underdark, and there was a massive, and this was Trigards, the city. Random tangent. The
Uh,
Trigard, the city's protector, who guards the gates to the
mhm.
underworld, a big statue, and it was a puzzle battle because, um, he's gonna. Everyone rolls initiative, but you also have you give the players a initiative for answering the riddle. So once you and the riddle was like it was something stupid like the only people who could cross are people whose names are on the list. And
Yeah.
something along those lines. And the problem with the battle was that Booterbot is very good at riddles. And
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say the riddle on this Let's Talk
Yeah.
Lore very well, and I'm pretty sure I explained it just like that, which is why it happened. But it only took like one turn, 2 turns, but like a puzzle battle is awesome, dude. Like I really like that. The Moonlight, I didn't even think of the Moonlight being a puzzle battle as much as I thought environment. So I guess we
Well,
go back.
it's something like for just for that one comment in my head, I was like, I want something that makes them more threatening. Like and you said it seems they seem like they changed when they're in there. And my goal was to have like that spot be a place where you're battling of them trying to get into it and you trying to push them out of it. And like just that little dynamic
Yeah,
changes the way you fight the battle, how you move, where you move, what spells you use. Of like, oh, there's this thing that I'm trying to change about the field, the gameplay, the field that we're playing on.
You know what I was thinking? Um, you know how we did a time limit in the time heist?
Yeah,
We had a whole session where it was just okay, you guys are going to go there for roll the D20. You got
yeah,
24 hours. 24 game time hours, including
yeah.
long. So like the long rest was
Like we had the plan when we're
when are
gonna
you
do it.
gonna take that? You know, maybe I should have had you guys had more damage during that to sort of, you know,
Oh,
whatever. I'm not looking back on it. I'm not upset how any of that turned out. It was awesome. But what if you took that time limit type thing and incorporated it into the battle? And
well,
so,
absolutely.
you know,
Um, well, and the easiest place to do something like that is in a temple or a dungeon where you're in a room and there's a timer counting down, and there's enemies in the room, and you have to stop something in the room that has a time limit of 4 rounds
right,
before the room floods with water.
right.
And you have to kill all these creatures or stop this way. That's the puzzle of the combat. Yeah. Like stuff like that. I
Yeah,
love.
and I was playing. It also reminds me of a uh, Gloomhaven. You know, it's
Mhm.
the card game. It's they say it's like Dungeons and Dragons. It's not like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a dungeon crawl game with instead of dice, it's cards. But I'm not going to knock it. It happens to be a really good game. However, there was this to go back to it to the topic at hand. There was this one scenario where everyone, including the bad guys, after like a turn or every 2 turns, because however you want
Yeah.
to do it, took a significant amount of damage because you're in a volcano
Right.
and everyone gets dealt fire damage or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, that's sort of it's not necessarily a
That
time limit, but it's like a health
but
limit.
it pushes urgency of
Right.
like we can't we can't let this drag out. We have to like do it now, do it quick.
Right, and sometimes the combat,
Mm.
not all combat. And I have a hard time with this sometimes too. Not all combats have to end with a death.
Right.
It just has to end in a way that is fitting. So
Well,
maybe you're
and
in. It could be a side quest. Sorry, I just it could be a side quest, and
yeah,
like you're in this. You're you know that if you kill this guy, you get a crazy item or whatever.
yeah.
Um, but it's so hard that you guys now decide that you're going to go back and look for help or a way to do it. And next time you get, there's
Yeah.
immersive quality to these
Right.
things. It's more,
Well,
you know,
it's the what is the goal of the combat?
yeah,
Like what are you trying to get out of it with this combat?
yes,
Um, and there's one game I ran. The characters are just incredibly strong for the environment. I didn't feel like trying to craft that perfect balance that's gonna test all of their challenges, put them to right to the razor's edge. I'm like, I don't feel like going deep into the weeds to try and get that perfect combat balance. But I want something in this session that we're running to make these characters feel like, oh, I'm a big bad tough guy and screw everyone else. So I put some creatures that are just tough enough to look scary to anyone else but them, and they just like wipe the floor with them in 2 rounds. And I know like wipe most other parties. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. Of like, it doesn't have to be this crazy thing. It's the goal of that combat, the purpose of that combat was for them to feel big and powerful and strong. And they did. And they did exactly what they were wanting to do, and it's exactly what I could hope.
yeah. And I just feel like I always like the immersion to push it, and I've been doing, and I feel like this series of Let's Talk Lore, the season, if you will,
Yeah.
really is going to be focused on immersion. Um,
Mhm.
and role play and
Right.
everything Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm always going to have a section here where we talk about what we're talking about in immersion. I feel like you know, yes, as you said, combat can get really boring and very hard to run for a dungeon master if you have multiple people.
Yeah.
Um, but the immersive qualities of these recommendations, that not recommendations, but how tos, are like pretty insane. It's like the time limit thing. Now everyone's thinking about the
Yeah.
time, the healing, the damage that you take every turn. You're not just focusing on your dice and adding math. The
Let's
I said environmental, but your thing was a puzzle. The puzzle.
yeah.
How do you do? What's happening here? Why is he invincible almost in the moonlight? You
I
know.
think the immersive beauty of it is it's a way to get the players out of their character sheet and into the world. Of like
Yes.
exploring the world because it's like, oh no, there's something else that's different. I have to understand and figure this out of like whatever it is like there's civilians running around of like, okay, I can't just look at my character sheet and say, oh, biggest fireball, kill everyone, we're done,
Right.
rinse and repeat. It's like, oh, I I don't know what to do now. There's a conundrum. I have to figure this out.
Yeah. And like sometimes it happens randomly, and just pay attention to
Mhm.
the game. Sometimes it
Yeah.
happens randomly. Like one random thing we did, I had a big basilisk fight with you guys, and you had druids and all this stuff, and not you had the party, but you had
Mm.
uh, dark elves and
Drow, yeah.
drow, and the second turn into the game, Jake or Sprock took his wand of wonder and shot out, and it randomly rolled, and there were a million butterflies flying around the
Yeah.
room all of a sudden. Now things get interesting because it's
Yeah.
like when the basilisk looks at you, you're gonna go prone and turn into a stone,
Oh, yeah.
but like
There's
does he?
butterflies now.
The butterflies, now you use your advantage. I
You
love
see
the
him?
environment in the battle. Sometimes
Hmm.
that could be used to as the immersive quality, but maybe the point of this is that combat can be in itself immersive because now
Hmm.
you're in it, and while you're there, add that extra layer that you're
Yeah.
talking about. Really cool topic, Chris. Really cool topic. Because I mean, it
I,
just happened. That moonlight thing was sick.
well, and that's why I wanted to talk about it because I always like to reflect on, like, I have a plan for a big fight and then I run it and it never goes the way I planned. And I always like to reflect on, like, okay, what did I do that worked? And exactly what you were saying, the moonlight, it made it something unique. It made it something special, something that you had to figure out. And that's what I want. So adding stuff like that ran a little environmental or uniquenesses that change the field or change the way um, enemies or players interact um, is a really nice way to bring a little bit more of that immersion in.
Oh yeah, and that's it,
Thank you.
baby.
Roll high and subscribe.
Roll high and subscribe. Tune in on Monday night for not the epic conclusion just yet, but almost getting to the epic conclusion.
For the potential reunion of Evil Titan Tamer and Sophie
Yes,
Beaumont.
yes.
The the reunion that I'm not sure how it's gonna play out right now, based on the way I've been role playing everyone.
It's gonna be
Now that I think of
hilarious.
them,
We're gonna have interactive combat on that night, so stay tuned for
you're gonna
that. Yeah.
you're gonna be having me role play with myself, role playing with myself.
Yeah, I will. If it gets too slow, I'll have to start fighting.
I need to start. I really need to get those distinguished voices so I can go from Eva Tatitema to Sophie Beaumont and have them sound like different French people.
That's really funny. I had one before we go. I just wanted to do one couple random rolls because I'm trying to
Okay.
put together a
Yes, let's do
character.
this.
We don't need to build the character out together like we normally
Okay.
do, because I'll just make his, as you said, stat blocks sometimes just need to be. They don't. Not everyone needs to be a massive superhero. They can just
No.
have normal
Sometimes
stat
you can have
blocks.
tens as a commoner.
So I am going to be every now and then soon. I don't know why, but when I take over, and you can start doing it too.
Yeah.
And it would be very funny if you randomly rolled it, and I haven't even put the mechanics together, and you have to come up with the mechanics. Um, how do you get to the Sky Kingdom? Obviously, I'd provide you with the means and gets to get a airship. You guys have done that before, but I was having, and I remember talking to you about this a long time ago, and be forewarned, this entire segment of Let's Talk Lore is indeed a random
Big
tangent.
tangent.
So I'm just going to click it 3 times.
Yeah.
Um, there are there's one staircase
Hmm.
that randomly shows up on a roll
Yeah.
during rests or
Hmm.
whenever I want. But
Right.
I'll try to time it. Um, and the staircase is going to lead up.
Yes.
Now maybe that goes to the Sky Kingdom. Where it lands up there, we'll
Where
have
it
to build it
goes.
out.
Yeah.
I'd like to build that out with you on a Let's Talk Lore coming up
Yeah.
about immersive city building, because there's
Okay.
definitely, we'll have to think about it, but
Yeah.
these are going to be floating islands in the
I,
sky.
I have
There's
ideas.
Loxodons and there are dwarves and there are other people, but those are that's the main population. And then there's other, but the staircase is one of the ways up.
Yeah.
Um, and there's going to be a gatekeeper of some kind. I
Okay.
wanted to roll just the random. I want you to roll
Okay.
using the Game Master's book.
Okay.
Uh, what the funny quirks for his,
Okay. Okay.
you know, or
So I'm rolling all of them?
yeah.
Okay. Oh, you have the book?
You know what? I'll roll his item at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
he's not gonna be like this is the book we
Yep.
recommend. Awesome. We have they have like so many. We haven't even tapped in to potential, um, like, not, I wouldn't say lore, but just like what's in these books. I just
Oh,
got,
yeah.
oh man, the next time we do this, I'm gonna get their world building, like town building towns. They have a book,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
look over those tables. We'll use that. He's not a leader. What would he be? More of like a guard, right? I mean, let's see. Outlander, outskirts, outposts. Odd,
Outskirts and
odd,
outposts.
yeah, 92 oddballs. 192, I mean.
I got 200. Random NPC generator, outskirts and outposts.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
Let's go. Okay.
A
Guardian.
name?
Guardian of, yeah, roll his name. Her name.
Guardian of the Staircase.
Yeah.
First page. That's a 6. Ulmog.
Olmog.
That's a good Guardian first name.
Love it. Olmog. Last name.
I'm going next page. For a 7. Hideworn.
Olmog Hideworn. Perfect, dude. This is already great. All right. Brief description. Let's go, baby.
Okay. Another 7. With a checkered vest, bulging eyes, and a thunderous laugh.
Thunderous laugh.
Okay.
Yep.
Back to page 1. For wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
I think this dice might be weighted. Another 7.
Wow.
We'll have to figure that out. Who is wandering the wilderness as a simple hermit. So he's wandering on the staircase.
Well, the staircase is going around.
Yeah, he wanders on the
Yeah,
staircase.
he's sort of secluded, isolated, hermit.
Okay. If this is a 7, this this die. Oh shoot. Okay, not a 7. Oh, gotta go next page. Secret or obstacle? You ready for this one?
Yeah, this is going to be the random one.
And is possessed by a ghost.
That's hilarious. Now you can take it for what it is and say, okay, there is a ghost, or he can
He
be
thinks
possessed.
he is.
Yes, he thinks he is. He thinks the staircase is a ghost.
He thinks everyone who comes up the staircase is a ghost, and that's why he doesn't let him through.
He also appears with the staircase, but he knows he's the guardian of the staircase, but he doesn't know why.
Well, you have to figure out the mechanics of it, of like how the staircase gets places.
Yeah.
Is he on a floating platform in the sky, and he randomly throughout the day like presses a button and the staircase goes down and then comes back up?
Oh, the sky dwarves who wanted to, again, everything's, it's about the real world stuff. You
Yeah.
want your economics and you want your trade, so they were trying to figure out how to get more population and round earthers up to the top
Mm.
to sway the votes. And so they created a magical staircase. And when they started, and when the first time that they uh, teleported it, there was a mishap. A a small Olmog touched the couldn't resist touching the staircase in some way and got transported with it, binding them almost in a weird way. So whenever the staircase goes, he also comes with it. And with that is the dichotomy between the ghost and the staircase, and maybe he's the ghost of the staircase. Um,
Every oh, so he randomly touched it and got teleported to where the staircase. So no matter where he is in the world, whenever the staircase reappears, he gets teleported from wherever he is in the
yeah,
world right to where the staircase.
yeah. You can't, and you
That is
can't,
great.
and you need him to gain access to it for whatever
Yeah.
reason. It's like a very steep slope. Uh,
No, the gate to go in only opens with his handprint.
yeah, the stairs fold into a slide if
Oh, no. If
if
he
he
doesn't
doesn't
lead you
if
the
you
way.
we could be like a Virgil. Maybe I have my player picked out. He could be like a Virgil, like Dante's Inferno in the Inferno. He could be a gnome. I think he's going to be a gnome. That's hilarious. All right, perfect.
Olmog the gnome.
Omog the gnome.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely
that's
perfect.
what I needed. I'm gonna post NPC Omog the Node as a third part of this Let's Talk Lore. Like I love having our playlist on YouTube about all the NPCs.
Yeah.
Really awesome. Yeah,
Alrighty.
that's all we have.
Until next time.
Until next time, roll high
Until
and
Monday.
subscribe. Yeah,
Roll high and subscribe.
vampires and werewolves.